First thing, number one, you got to have your safety goggles. It's a must. Safety goggles is the most important thing before you do anything. And then a lot of people, with the safety, number one, before you turn on the machine, you make sure everything's clear. Because you got to remember, this is a strong, and it can be very vicious. So when you're working, this machine, it's going to turn on. It don't know. So when you do things like you do with magnetic disc, you make sure your disc is on properly. And that's why I always recommend, like, turn it by hand. This way you make sure there's nothing in its way. You want that very good. Not only that, you could wear a mask because you do have moisture coming off of that. And we recommend you put a mask on for the reason, because the moisture, it depends what you're doing. Sometimes you might have it come up this way. You don't want to breathe that moisture, because you got to remember, in that moisture it will be whatever you're grinding, because it gets to be a fine dust. So it could be glass, rock, whatever you're grinding. So we recommend a mask on. And some people want to put on like a raincoat. You don't really need it, but it depends on what you're doing. Some people like to have a lot of water when they're grinding, and they don't need it, but it depends on what they're doing. There's so many people do so many different things. And we recommend, not only that, when you're done, before you take the disc off the machine, you make sure it's turned off. Anyway, when you take it off that way again, and you put it over here. It's like I have it one day already, so this one here. And anyway, these are very important things you got to do. When you put something, make sure it's turned off. Everything's fine before you put it on your other piece. So when you go to put your pieces on, you like these here. These here are flexible, so you can do almost anything you want. It flexes pretty good. And they're resin bond diamonds. There are also diamonds on this pad. You also use water on this pad. And we recommend selecting with the thing you have to. What you do, I turn it back like this, and then what I do, I lift it up and turn it, pull it forward. Because that magnetic sticks really good. So you can see, So what you do, you make sure it's on, like that. And you can tell around the button, you see you want this thing to be good and straight on there. And so you notice how I turn it before you turn it on. You spin it this way, you know everything's free, clear, and then you turn on your machine. And so always remember, and then you got the water valve over here, so you can turn it off and turn it on when you want. You see, it's got adjustable valve here, so you can have a lot of water, a little bit of water, whatever you feel like it. And what we always do, we recommend you to start with it not running, with water. Turn it on, and then turn on your water and watch what you like to have, and the flow of water onto your disc. So, so that's what we recommend. And to take it off, do the same thing. And always make sure that your pieces, your disc, see, since it's magnetic, it'll catch a lot of things. So what you always want to do is make sure it's good and clean before you put it on there, and also your steel. Because if you have a piece of glass or rock and you put this on there, it's going to show that wear spot through here. So to be safe, always make sure the cleaner you keep everything, less problems you're going to have. If you don't take care, you're going to have these stuff. So you always make sure your disc is good and clean. And then when you're done with it, at the end of the day, put a light coat of oil on it. You know, pads, like I said, we want to keep them good and clean in the back when you put them on. You don't want no glass or a little like a sand pebble or anything. Anything goes on there will wear a spot and it could ruin your pads. We don't recommend it. And then when you're not using it, make sure you take your pads off, and then you put them away in a nice flat, especially. And doing this is not a good idea, because I only did to show that these could be stuck on the side of a piece. Now, if you had say a metal shelf over here, you could stick them on it. We don't recommend you to put them on the machine. I just showed it because of how the magnetic works. It's not a good idea or safety deal to put these on the side of a machine. And another thing I want to explain to you, This here is one speed, forward, reverse. Now, when you're doing different types of material, different metals or something, the speed goes now is what about 80, say 70% of your work would be. But now you might have different things you're doing, or it depends on the operation. You can buy it, it's optional, variable speed. This is a one speed only, but you can get it with variable speed. It's a little more money, but you can control it to, say, 1% RPMs all the way up to its max. So you got full variable speed. Say you're doing something exotic, or you need to slow it down because you're doing something very, very intricate where you cannot be grinding too fast. So you want the variable speed. The variable speed's the way to go. If you can afford it, that's what, because variable speed, that means you got full 100% use of this machine. Not only that, with a lot of people, say you're doing big heavy stuff and there's nobody else around, you can have a foot pedal to kick on the machine or turn it off when you're working. Say you have a big piece and there ain't nobody to help you take it off, and the machine's running. So you can release your foot from the pedal, it would stop the machine, and you can take the piece off without losing it. So that's different safety things and features you could do. There's so many things, but we recommend variable speed if you can afford it, because it's more money. But let me tell you, you're to your limit, unlimited for what you want to do with this machine. And because the diamonds, the highest RPMs we have it is what we recommend. Anything higher, we don't guarantee it, because you could ruin a disc, because sometimes you could be grinding and overheating the pads or your work. And because if you're working and you're overheating it, you can lose your piece, break your piece. So that's why we recommend these RPMs. But say again, if you can, you get a variable speed if you can afford it. You don't really need it, but if you're going to use it for almost anything, I recommend it. So, but remember, you can always put a foot pedal. You can buy that at any store, or we'll send you one. You can buy one from us. But we recommend, if you're working by yourself, and that would be good to have a foot pedal, off and on pedal, when you're working. This way you can turn it off without anybody helping you. Because see, if you got a piece here, you can't hold over and turn that off. Even when the switch is here, you cannot go up the piece. So we recommend you can get a foot pedal, off and on foot pedal. You buy Granger's, any one of the hardware stores should have it. And if you don't, you call one of us and we'll tell you where you can get it and stuff like that. So that's the safety features pretty well most what you need.